Discover how a heartwarming wedding booth swap led to an incredible romance with a single dad CEO. Molly stood at her booth, heart pounding, as the bustling wedding expo enveloped her. The air was thick with the scent of roses and fresh-cut greenery, laughter ringing like a siren call. Brightly colored floral arrangements danced about, as potential brides flaunted their dreams. She was a photographer, no, not just a photographer, but the heart of her family's business. Yet as she looked around, her spirit wavered. Bills piled up in her mailbox, heavy burdens carved into her shoulders. Every photo session felt like a desperate grasp at a fading dream, but there it was, hope sparkling like confetti. She had signed up for this expo, desperately wishing for a break, a nudge that would draw couples to her modest booth, where her heart whispered promises of capturing their love. Then, the unexpected happened. A mix-up during setup paired her with Jack, a broodingly handsome CEO, a titan in suit and tie. Molly was all laughter and warmth, and he, all reserved intensity. Their initial interaction was like oil and water. Jack cast a skeptical glance at her vintage camera, his brow furrowing as if echoing a silent question: what could she know about the weight I carry? And Molly, needles of indignation prickling her, couldn't help but feel judged under his high-status character. "I'm more than your assumptions." She wanted to shout. Instead, she plastered a cheerful smile on her face, hiding her frustration behind the lens of her camera. As the day progressed, booth-switching antics brought them closer while chaos ensued around them. A bridal party spun into view, veils trailing and heels clacking. Jack's protective demeanor softened whenever he glanced at Molly's infectious enthusiasm, the corners of his mouth twitching upward. Could hearts open amidst floral decorations and cake tastings? Just then, a tragic twist hit. Jack's daughter fell ill, something that sent him reeling. The weight of a single father's heartache was palpable. The scene around them blurred, all eyes turned to Jack, concern etched in his demeanor. Molly felt a pull of empathy too strong to ignore. "Let me help," she blurted, heart racing, a part of her breaking at the thought of his little girl hurting. She stepped into the fray, becoming a pillar of support. Fateful conversations turned to moments shared, and their walls began to crumble, revealing pieces of their lives that resonated with raw emotion. Laughter punctuated their exchanges, even through the seriousness that loomed. As the expo ended and the sun dipped below the horizon, their bond solidified. But just when the stars began to align, rumors erupted around them, whispers that turned their fleeting joy into a tempest of insecurity. Jack, with his corporate shield, felt vulnerable, while Molly questioned her worth in a world that seemed to favor societal hierarchies. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Caught in a whirlwind of emotions, they stood at the precipice of something magnificent yet terrifying. Would Jack let go of his fears of vulnerability? Could Molly defy the whispers of judgment? The world felt heavy as they faced the ballooning consequences of misunderstandings. Their futures hung in the balance, and it only took one moment in the swirling chaos of Maplewood to awaken the undeniable truth: love might just be the bridge they needed to cross the unyielding chasm of societal class. Molly watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of lavender and gold. She felt both exhilarated and overwhelmed, teetering on the edge of something she had long buried deep inside. This connection with Jack felt genuine, but the shadows of doubt flickered in the back of her mind. Whispers of insecurity echoed louder than ever, rumors swirling about their unexpected bond and the practicality of their lives. Jack stood beside her, staring into the same vibrant sunset, but his expression was clouded with anxiety. The last fragments of the bridal expo were fading, and with them, the fleeting joy they had shared. "Molly," he began, voice low and hesitant, I don't want you to think I'm using this situation to, well, escape my reality." She turned to him, her heart aching at how vulnerable he seemed. And I don't want you to feel like I'm just some distraction, she replied, guilt creeping in. I mean, your daughter Emma's everything to me, Jack interjected with quiet conviction, his gaze piercing through the barriers they had both erected. But she also deserves to see me happy. Do you think we could find that together? Molly inhaled sharply, her stomach flipping with a cocktail of hope and trepidation. She had spent so long trying to piece her life back together. Could she really afford to let someone in? But what about the differences between us? Jack reached for her hand, his touch sending electricity up her arm. Honestly, I'm tired of the labels. Isn't that what brought us here in the first place? I want to share moments, memories, dreams with you. His sincerity wrapped around her like a warm blanket, yet the fears bubbled to the surface again. What if the world doesn't see it that way? What if it tears us apart before we even get started? He stepped closer, using his free hand to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Then we take it one day at a time. I broke my own walls for you today, I'm willing to keep doing that. They stood there, eyes locked, feeling the pull of possibility. But before they could explore the path ahead, the reality of the busy expo abruptly rushed back. Vendors were breaking down their booths, laughter mixed with the clinking of glasses filled the air. Some faces glared in their direction, not all friendliness, unkind murmurs buzzing around them. Let them talk, Jack murmured, his thumb brushing against her wrist as he gestured toward the crowd. We've got something real here. Do we? She whispered back, uncertainty thick in her throat. Suddenly, a shrill voice pierced through their private moment. Jack! There you are. A striking woman, clad in a designer dress that exuded opulence, glided toward them, her sharp smile revealing too much ambition. You've been missing in action. And who is this? The smugness dripped from her tone like honey, sending a wave of tension through the air. Molly could feel Jack's body tense beside her, and she instinctively stepped back, her heart racing. Just someone I met at the expo, Jack said, his voice steady but edged with irritation. Right, the woman's eyes swept over Molly with condescension, as if judging them both in one glance. You're a photographer, I see. The sharp words aimed at Jack felt like daggers, and Molly noticed how quickly the atmosphere changed. It felt as if they were back in high school, on the playground, with everyone witnessing a showdown. Just when Molly thought she could stand tall against the judgments, a feeling of despair washed over her. Was this what her life would look like with Jack? Let us step away, Jack said, his hand still clasping hers tightly. We don't need to let her rattle us. But before they could escape the crowd, an unexpected twist came from behind them. Emma, Jack's daughter, appeared in the doorway, a worried expression on her small face. Daddy! She cried out, her eyes darting from him to Molly, sensing the sudden tension. Molly's heart sank. Would this innocent moment shatter their fragile beginnings? As Jack's expression shifted through concern and defense, she felt that their journey was about to take a profound turn. What would Emma think? Would their budding connection withstand the scrutiny? Or was this just the beginning of unraveling something beautiful? Molly's breath hitched as Emma rushed into the room, her small frame a beacon of innocence amidst the swirling chaos around them. The tension thickened, and cold doubt twisted in Molly's stomach. Would the little girl understand? She fumbled for the right words, but they skipped away from her like leaves in the wind. Who is this, Daddy? Emma asked, her voice small but curious, her wide eyes bouncing between them. Jack knelt down, meeting his daughter's level, his hands still intertwined with Molly's. This is Molly. She is a really talented photographer. We met today at the expo. The innocence in Emma's gaze warmed something inside Molly, but the flash of concern in Jack's eyes overshadowed it. Photographer? Emma repeated, a spark of interest flickering. Like, taking pictures of weddings? Molly offered a hesitant smile, grateful for Emma's curiosity even though it felt like the spotlight was now on her. Yes, actually. I do a lot of wedding photography. It's wonderful to be part of such happy moments. Will you take a picture of us, then?" Emma asked, her excitement bubbling through, completely unaware of the adult complications swirling around them. "Of course I can," Molly replied, her heart lifting at the thought. Taking photos felt like a bridge, a way to connect without the weight of words pressing down on them. Jack's expression softened. "That sounds like a great idea, Emma. But first, don't you want to tell me about your day?" Emma nodded, seeming to forget the awkward atmosphere for a moment. "I saw some really cute puppies at the booth. And I drew a picture for you." Her voice faded as Molly watched her excitement glow like a fleeting light. As father and daughter interacted, Molly stood slightly apart, all too aware of the surroundings, the curious glances and condescending smiles from the crowd. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. Jack was so devoted to Emma. Their connection was beautiful, but the unsaid doubts loomed. What if she wasn't ready for the life that came with him? "Why don't we all get a photo together?" Jack suggested, glancing up at Molly, the flicker of hope in his eyes shining through. "What do you say?" Excitement bubbled within Emma, her infectious joy cutting through Molly's lingering uncertainty. "Yes. Let us do it. I want to post it on my wall." The little girl beamed, raising her arms as if she were already posing. Molly felt her heart swell. "All right then," she said, stepping closer and finding her courage. She could give them this moment. A photograph could capture what words failed to express, a moment of hope amid the noise. Jack positioned himself beside Emma, his arm draping protectively around her shoulders. As Molly stepped back, camera poised, she felt a slight pulse of excitement rush through her. 1, 2, 3. The shutter clicked, freezing the moment in time. Molly smiled genuinely, and for a fleeting second, the tension faded. When she looked through the camera, she saw not just the two of them, but the acceptance of a growing connection, fragile yet vibrant. The laughter echoed lightly, drifting through the crowd, unaware of the sorrows and complexities behind it, but as she lowered the camera, doubt crept back. What would this mean for them moving forward? Before she could grasp the weight of the moment, the opulent woman returned, still sporting that razor-sharp smile. "Jack, I hope you're not too lost in your little daydream here. We have to talk about the upcoming gala now." Her voice dripped with self-importance, drowning the warmth from the photograph they just took. Molly's heart sank as she caught Jack's pained expression, torn between his obligations and this new world he was cautiously building with her. Would he choose duty over connection? Just as her thoughts swirled, Emma looked between them, her brow furrowed. Molly felt an urgent need to reassure the little girl. "How about I show you how to take photos, Emma? We can make our own little family album." But as she spoke, Jack's expression faltered, uncertainty creeping back in. With the world pressing in from all sides, and Emma's innocent gaze searching for direction, Molly found herself facing a deep choice. Could she embrace the unexpected joy of this moment, or would everything slip away before it truly began? In that charged silence, an unvoiced question hung heavy in the air: would love be enough to bridge their separate worlds? Molly watched Jack as he stood, torn between responsibilities and his desire to connect. The elegant woman beside him seemed to push back any warmth that had begun to blossom. The gaiety of the expo felt like a distant echo now, overshadowed by the sense of urgency hanging in the air. Emma's little hand slipped into Molly's, and that small gesture reignited a spark of hope inside her. "Can you show me the pictures you took?" Emma asked, looking up at Molly with her big, trusting eyes. Feeling a swell of affection, Molly knelt beside her. "Absolutely. Let us go see what we got." She quickly thumbed through her camera, showcasing a few snapshots of Emma with the puppies earlier in the day. Each photo captured joy, innocence, and bright smiles. "That's me!" Emma exclaimed, her laughter dancing around them. The worry on Jack's face seemed to fade momentarily, replaced with the uncomplicated joy of seeing his daughter so content. As Molly flipped through the images, she welcomed the warmth radiating from their small circle. But her heart ached at the thought of the woman's return, the reminder of societal expectations looming over them. "Let us take a selfie." she suggested to Emma, hoping to anchor this moment. "Yay!" Emma shouted, jumping up and down in excitement. Jack smiled, the weariness of adult concerns momentarily forgotten. Molly raised her camera high. "Ready? 1, 2, 3. The shutter clicked again, capturing their spontaneous joy, the glimmer of connection sparking between them. But just as they finished, the elegant woman leaned in closely to Jack, her tone suffocatingly sweet. "Jack, darling, we really must talk. It's about the gala presentation. I'm heading now." Molly felt the warmth drain from the moment, as if a shadow had crept in, stealing their sunlight. Jack's head turned slightly, visible strain tightening his jaw as he held Emma's gaze. The little girl's smile dimmed, sensing the shift in energy. "I'll be there in just a minute," he replied, his eyes darting between them, his daughter and the woman with the power to shape his future. "Fine," she said, her voice icy, before she huffed away, leaving Jack with the weight of her expectations. "Molly," Jack started, but Emma interrupted, tugging at his hand. "Can we take more pictures, Daddy? Please?" "Yeah. Let us capture this moment," Molly urged, desperately wanting to keep the light alive amidst the encroaching darkness. With renewed determination, Jack took a step closer. "All right, let us see those smiles." His eyes brightened with a flicker of hope, and they posed together again. Click. Each photo felt like a small victory, defying the tension that threatened to suffocate them. But even as the joy hummed in the background, doubt rushed back like a tide. Would this little girl keep believing in their new connection if he kept slipping away? As he looked around at the colorful expo, Molly felt a shift within herself. Maybe she could be that bridge between Jack and a more open, honest life. With every click of the camera, hope unfolded, but reality loomed larger than life. Jack touched her arm softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "I care about you both, but I have obligations." Molly met his gaze, her heart racing. "I know. But sometimes, our paths can cross in unexpected ways." The words hung in the air, a quiet promise building between them. Emma laughed, oblivious to the heaviness lingering just beneath, her joy acting like a balm on their worries. Yet the question remained, is it possible for Jack to blend his obligations with the new life he wants to shape with them? Time ticked forward, and as the expo buzzed around them, Molly felt the pressure mounting. Would they all stand together, as a family, through the chaos that life threw their way? Just as they were about to pose for another picture, the woman returned, her expression now sharp as a knife. "Jack. I need you." Molly's heart sank, feeling a storm brewing on the horizon. Would Jack choose duty again, or could he step towards the light they had just begun to share? In that charged moment, with cameras flashing and uncertain futures ahead, the answer seemed miles away, yet closer than ever. Jack's smile faltered, the warmth that had enveloped them moments ago now frosted over. The woman's voice cut deep, slicing through their hope like a cold wind. Molly could feel Emma's small body tense beside her, picking up on the shift. Jack glanced down at his daughter, his face a mixture of regret and resolve, but it was the resolve that stirred something deep within Molly. "Just a minute, Charlotte," he said, his back straightening a little. "Is it really that urgent?" Molly held her breath. Perhaps this was the turning point. Maybe Charlotte would see the light in this moment. Maybe she would back off. "Of course it is," Charlotte retorted, her tone edged with frustration. "The gala presentation isn't going to wait for you, Jack. You and I have been planning this for weeks." Molly watched as Jack's shoulders dropped slightly, the weight of expectation hanging heavy. Emma squeezed Molly's hand tighter, her little fingers trembling with worry. "Daddy," she whispered, sensing the tension, "I want to keep taking pictures." The sincerity in Emma's voice shot straight to Jack's heart. It was as if he could feel her desire for connection, for moments that mattered. Yet, here he was, ensnared by the demands of his world, the flashy galas and hollow conversations. "Just a couple more shots, Emma," Jack finally said. His voice was steadier than it felt inside. Molly seized the opportunity. You heard him, Em. Let us capture some memories. As they placed themselves back into cheesy poses, Jack couldn't shake the sensation that each smile was a tiny rebellion against the expectations pressing down upon them. With every click, Molly felt a swell of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Jack leaned over to her, whispering, I'm sorry about this. His voice was pained, but it was also steady. A spark of determination flickered in his eyes, igniting something in Molly's heart. Don't be sorry, she replied softly, catching his gaze. Just be here. With us. They snapped a few more photos, laughter bubbling up like a burst of sunshine breaking through dark clouds. Emma's joyful squeals pulled them both into a space of lightness, if just for a moment. Then, Charlotte's patience wore thin. Jack! She interrupted, arms crossed, tapping her stiletto against the expo floor. I have a timeline to keep. Molly flinched. The atmosphere darkened again. Maybe you should go with her, she suggested, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. We can always take more photos later. Jack hesitated, glancing between Molly and Emma. I don't want to let you down. His pulse quickened, a mix of fear and desire swirling in his chest. Emma's eyes widened. Daddy, stay with us. Molly, he struggled to find the right words. There was so much at stake. Jack could feel the moments slipping away like sand through his fingers. Sometimes, Molly started, her heart pounding, you have to take a stand for what matters. Maybe you can redefine what obligations look like. His breath caught in his throat. Could he really do that? Could he redefine his life? Just then, he heard Charlotte huffing impatiently. This is embarrassing. We're leaving, Jack. Now. All his instincts screamed to follow her, to avoid the fallout, but as he looked at Molly and Emma, he felt something shift within him. Wait, he said, his voice steadying. Charlotte, I need a minute. As he stood his ground, Molly's heart raced, a mixture of fear and hope colliding within her. Would he really choose them? Now Emma's sweet smile faded, uncertainty creeping in again, the air crackled with tension. Jack's decision hung in the balance, a moment of reckoning where hearts would either intertwine or separate. As the voices around them faded, the only sound was the soft click of the camera, capturing the pivotal moment that seemed to hold breath and promise in the balance. Would Jack's courage lead them into the light, or shatter their newly forged bond? What choice would he make in this defining moment, and what ripple effects would follow? Jack took a deep breath, the weight of his decision pressing heavily upon him. He could feel the tension in the air slicing through the laughter that had just filled the space moments ago. Time seemed to stretch, mocking him, daring him to grasp what really mattered. Just give me a moment, he repeated, his voice stronger now. Charlotte raised an eyebrow, disbelief sparking in her eyes. It was a flicker of defiance he rarely allowed himself. Molly, please, Charlotte began, her annoyance spilling over. Jack. Emma's small voice piped up again, a hint of desperation mixing with her innocence. Let us just take one more picture. I love these. It pierced Jack's heart like an arrow. The simple joy in Emma's plea echoed louder than all the noise coming from Charlotte. Molly's eyes were locked on Jack, each moment stretching, and he could see the hope shimmering there. In that instant, a fierce determination surged within him. This was more than just about a few photos, it was about carving out a place for love, for family, for authentic moments that mattered. Charlotte's impatience was a weight on his shoulders, but so was the realization of what leaving would mean. Charlotte, Jack hesitated, searching for the right words that seemed to dance just out of reach. This is important to me. All of this, he gestured toward Molly and Emma, it's more than just a distraction. Charlotte rolled her eyes, but Jack pressed on. You don't understand. I can't keep living my life like this, pretending the gala and the deadlines are what matters. It's not what makes me happy. Molly's heart raced as Jack's revelation became tangible. the tension shifting, hope igniting a spark in her chest. She took a cautious step forward, her voice low and steady. "Jack, it's your choice. Always. Trust what makes you feel alive." Emma beamed, her excitement contagious. "Daddy, let us make a silly face." She contorted her features into a comical expression, drawing giggles from Molly and even softening the corners of Jack's mouth. The urge to smile couldn't be contained. Jack felt the stirrings of freedom, the kind he hadn't experienced in too long. He dropped into a crouch beside Emma, mimicking her goofiness, and they snapped a quick photo. Laughter erupted once more, lighting up the space like fireworks. But Charlotte wasn't having it. "Jack, are you really choosing them over your career?" Her voice was sharp, cutting through the moment like a knife. "It's not as simple as that," he said, looking directly into her eyes. "I have to look beyond just what is expected of me. I choose my family. I choose their joy." Emma's hands clapped together, her face radiant, reflecting a pure sense of accomplishment. Jack turned to her. "We did it, Em. We stood tall." In that flicker of courage, there was a glimpse of brightness in Molly's eyes. A spark of gratitude and empathy flooded through her as she witnessed Jack stepping into his strength, but just as quickly, Charlotte's response was thunderous. "This is insane. You'll regret this, Jack. Mark my words." With that, she spun on her heel, her stiletto heels echoing down the expo hall, leaving behind an unsettling silence that crowded around them. As Jack straightened up, realization washed over him, carrying the weight of possibility. He turned again toward Molly and Emma, absorbing the gravity of what he'd just done and the choice he had made. "We did it," he whispered, awe and relief mixing in his voice. "Yes," Molly replied, confidence glimmering. "Now we can truly begin." But as they posed for another round of photos, an uneasy feeling crept back into the air. What consequences awaited them after this moment? Could they really forge a new path free from the chains of expectation? Jack smiled for the camera, yet a shadow of uncertainty lingered in the back of his mind. What challenges lay ahead, and was he truly ready to face them for the sake of his newfound bond? As they gathered for one last shot, Emma's laughter ringing clear, Jack felt a stirring deep within. He was ready to step into the unknown, but where would this journey lead them next? Jack glanced at Emma, her eyes sparkling with delight as she beamed into the camera. He felt a surge of warmth flow through him. Moments like these were rare treasures. The laughter and love filling the air momentarily lifted the weight on his heart, but the echo of Charlotte's words loomed. Regret wouldn't just vanish, it lingered like a shadow, trying to creep back in at the edges of his mind. "Okay. One more time, everyone." Molly's voice rang out like a bell, directing their attention back to the camera. She bounced on her toes, radiating enthusiasm. Silly faces again. They all leaned in, faces scrunched up, tongue out goofy grins plastered as the flash went off. For that brief moment, everything felt right. Jack wanted to bottle it all up, the joy of his daughter, the connection with Molly, the laughter cutting through the exhaustion that had saturated his life for too long, but as the photo shoot wrapped up, the light-hearted vibe started to fade. A nagging thought gnawed at him. Charlotte was right in a sense. Leaving his career could lead to uncharted waters. Was he really prepared to navigate them? Molly, noticing the shift in his demeanor, moved closer. "Jack." "Yeah." He met her gaze, trying to smile through the uncertainty. "Remember, it's okay to lean into the unknown. Sometimes the scariest paths lead us where we truly belong." Her words hung in the air, wrapping around his heart like a soft embrace. "I know." He sighed, taking a moment to release the tension he had tightly wound around himself. "It just feels overwhelming. Leaving behind what I've known. But it's worth it, right?" Molly tilted her head, a small smile playing on her lips. "Absolutely. Just think about the kind of father and person you want to be. That's what matters." Emma, wiggling with excitement beside them, tugged at Jack's arm. Daddy, let us go get some ice cream. Can we? Her eyes shone with hope, oblivious to the depths of their conversation, but somehow, her innocence carved a path through Jack's thick layers of doubt. Sure, he chuckled, shaking off the weight for a moment. Ice cream it is. The trio moved toward the exit. The hall that just moments ago felt suffocating now transformed into an open space filled with possibility. Jack felt lighter, relieved of the burden, at least for now. The laughter continued around him, and he reached out, taking Molly's hand, a gesture of connection that stirred warmth inside him. As they walked, Charlotte's harsh words echoed, attempting to reclaim the space Jack was trying to carve for himself and his family. I can't have it all and keep her happy, he thought grimly. But what if keeping Charlotte happy meant sacrificing his joy? Molly must have sensed his turmoil again, the subtle way her fingers tightened around his. Jack, just remember, you're building a new life, not just a new chapter. You're rewriting your story. They reached a small ice cream stand, vibrant colors decorated the bustling space. Kids bounced around, parents laughed. Just the kind of place Jack wanted to be, where joy was contagious. He couldn't help but smile again, feeling the warmth of possibility reignite, but as they stepped closer to the counter, something caught his eye. Charlotte, wading through a crowd, seemingly searching for him. A chill grazed the back of his neck as he realized the confrontation might not be over. Would she follow him here? Jack. Molly's voice drew him back, concern weaving through her tone, and just like that, his heart raced again, uncertainty washing back over him. Did he have the strength to handle whatever came next, or would past choices come clawing back, threatening everything he was trying to build? Let us grab those ice cream cones, he exclaimed, trying to mask his unease, pulling his daughter close. But as the smile faded from his face, he pondered the unkingdom of silence swelling within him, what was about to break loose. Jack's eyes darted back to the crowd, scanning over the sea of bright colors and excited voices. He hoped no, prayed that maybe he was imagining it. But there she was, Charlotte, her expression unreadable, as she maneuvered through the throngs of people. His heart thudded in his chest. Was this confrontation unavoidable? Daddy? Emma's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back to the moment. She gazed up at him with eyes wide and uncomprehending, the innocence on her face pushing aside the looming dread. Yeah, sweetie, he replied, forcing a smile. Are you okay? She asked, tilting her head as if trying to read him like one of her storybooks. Of course. Just a little distracted. Ice cream first, he replied, though the knot in his stomach tightened further. Molly stepped beside him, her hand still resting lightly on his. Hey, we can get whatever you want, Em. Plus, how about an extra scoop to celebrate? Jack tried to focus on Emma's delight. Her small feet bounced excitedly as she grinned, oblivious to the tension brewing at the edges of the stand. It was hard to shake the feeling that he was on the verge of a storm, but he didn't want to ruin this moment for Emma. The line moved, and his focus shifted back to Charlotte. She was getting closer, eyes scanning for him. What if she approached? What would she say in front of Molly and Emma? Would their playful day be shattered? 2 scoops of chocolate chip cookie dough. Emma chirped, her eyes alight with excitement as they finally reached the counter. The vendor grinned, scooping the ice cream, his cheerful demeanor in stark contrast to Jack's swirling thoughts. 2 scoops. You go big. Molly teased Emma. Always, Emma beamed, and Jack felt a flicker of pride. Just like her dad, he joked lightly, but all he could think was how he needed to protect that excitement and happiness. Then, to his dread, Charlotte was steps away, her silhouette slicing through the cheerful atmosphere. He could see the determination in her stride. She was here to talk, and that was undeniably going to turn the joyful moment into something else entirely. Jack, she began, her voice intent but strained by the ambient noise around them. His heart sank. Charlotte, he responded, trying to keep his voice steady. Molly's eyes widened for a split second before she instinctively stepped forward, positioning herself between Jack and Charlotte, a shield of support. "This is a family moment. Can we talk later?" Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude toward Molly. Her presence reaffirmed his choice, a choice that seemed to intimidate the past clawing back at him. Charlotte's brow furrowed. "Jack, we need to discuss. I don't think now is the right time," he interrupted, feeling the weight of the crowd press around him. He wanted to slide into the joyous world where ice cream and laughter ruled, not spiral back into the chaos of accusations and regret. "Why, Jack?" She shot back, frustration evident in her voice. "Because you're happy here? Because you want to pretend everything is fine?" Jack felt the warmth of his daughter, the weight of his fears, and Molly's strong presence all merge into a single heartbeat of clarity. "No, I don't want to pretend. I just want to protect what's here." Emma, now oblivious to any tension, sang happily about her ice cream conquest. Jack held her hand tighter, feeling tethered to hope. "Maybe we need to have this talk sooner rather than later," Charlotte said, less confrontational, almost pleading. "You can't just run away from this." He hesitated, the struggle playing out in his mind. Could he really face more turmoil, when all he longed for was the simplicity of joy with Emma? Molly looked at him, her eyes softening, silently urging him to consider his answer. Jack took a deep breath, glancing back at his daughter. She was twirling in delight, ice cream cone held high, blending bliss and simplicity. "Okay," he said slowly, realization dawning. "But it will be on my terms." A small sense of empowerment washed over him, freeing him momentarily from Charlotte's grasp. But before he could celebrate that feeling, doubts crept back in. Could he trust himself to navigate the impending storm without losing his way? As Charlotte's eyes narrowed in response, Jack took a step back, feeling the weight of the world upon him. What was he really ready for? Would he stand strong when the past came rushing back to reclaim him? Prepare for the truth, he thought. Everything is about to change again. Jack's mind reeled as he felt the ground beneath him shift. He was standing at a precarious edge, and he knew it. "You can't avoid this forever, Jack," Charlotte pressed, her eyes glimmering with something like desperation that caught him off guard. Molly tightened her grip on his hand, sensing the tension in the air. Jack turned, shooting her a grateful glance that mirrored his unspoken plea for solidarity. He could feel Emma's small fingers, sticky with ice cream, wrapped around his. She looked up at him, her innocence a stark contrast to the cocktail of emotions swirling inside him. "Daddy, can we sit and eat?" Emma chirped, oblivious to the storm brewing between him and Charlotte. "Yeah, sure." "After this," he said, trying to keep his voice light as he aimed a reassuring smile down at her. "I'll get us a table," Molly offered, giving him a look signaling it was time to talk, a look that seemed to shout she wouldn't let him drown. Just before she moved away, she whispered, "Stay strong." Jack felt the wave of gratitude wash over him again as Molly walked toward a nearby picnic table under a canopy of colorful flags flapping in the gentle breeze. He turned back to Charlotte, who had moved a step closer, her determination unwavering. "Jack, when are we going to be honest with each other?" She pressed, her tone softening just a bit, tinged with sincerity. His heart pounded as he grappled with her question. What did honesty even mean in this twisted narrative of their lives? "I thought I was, Charlotte. I left for a reason." "But reasons can change," she said, her voice vulnerable. "You don't have to shut me out indefinitely." Jack felt a surge of anger rise within him. "Do you realize how hard it was to get to this point? I left to escape the chaos, not to invite it back in." Before she could respond, Emma reappeared, ice cream dripping down her chin like a messy badge of honor. "Look, Mom. I got a rainbow sprinkle scoop." She gleefully exclaimed, blissfully unaware of the tension thickening the air. Jack's heart softened at the sight. "That's awesome, Em," he said, kneeling to wipe the smudges from her chin. In that moment, everything else fell away, and the world seemed perfectly bright once more. Charlotte's gaze lowered to Emma, and for a fleeting second, her guarded expression cracked. A flicker of warmth passed between them as they both regarded the little girl who bridged their worlds. But just as quickly, the walls went up again. "Bill collectors can wait, Jack," Charlotte said, her urgency now tinged with a hint of worry. "But Emma deserves to know the truth about everything, don't you think?" "Charlotte, she is still so young," he said, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and resolve. "What is the good in throwing her into a storm?" "Lying to her is a storm waiting to happen," she replied, her voice steady, but he could hear the quiver beneath. "You think she is happy now, but the truth lingers in shadows. Kids pick up on things. He couldn't argue with that." Images of Emma's confused expressions on previous occasions when he avoided Charlotte loomed in his memory. The guilt settled in his chest like a stone. Turning, he spotted Molly at the table, her expression filled with concern and support, but it was far too late for rose-colored glasses. Everything felt raw, painful, but he couldn't let the weight of it drag him into the depths again. "Let us keep it simple," he finally said, finding his voice. "If we have to talk, let us do it without Emma around. For her sake." Charlotte studied him, her features softening again. "Okay. But we need to get this over with. I can't keep pretending either." As Jack watched Charlotte's resolve, something large shifted inside him. The horizon felt broader, the clouds parting ever so slightly. This could lead to clarity, or it could bring chaos once more. "Just promise me," he said, determination lacing his words, "this time, we keep it civil. No explosions, no accusations. Our child deserves better." She nodded, the respect filtering through in her eyes, signaling an unexpected alliance, at least for the moment. But as Jack glanced back at Molly, who was waving them over to the table, he felt a different knot tighten, one of fear for what lay ahead. Could they really find common ground? Would the past stay buried or claw its way back to the surface? Emma danced around them, laughter bubbling like the sweetest melody, and in that moment, Jack realized he was standing at the brink of two worlds. What had once been comfort now felt like a tenuous balancing act. And somewhere deep down, he knew this wasn't just about the past reclaiming him, it was about him finally deciding what he truly wanted for his future. As the atmosphere crackled between them, Jack took a deep breath, ready to face whatever would come next. With Emma's laughter ringing in his ears, he steeled himself for the conversation that could change everything. What truth was waiting to be unearthed, and would it bind or break their fragile connection forever? Molly watched as Jack stepped into the near chaos of emotion between him and Charlotte. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff as the storm raged on below, and she could only hope Jack would find the courage to soar above the chaos. Emma was a beacon, her innocent joy cutting through the overwhelming weight of the moment. The world around them buzzed with chatter, yet here, time felt suspended. "Okay, everyone," Jack said, his voice steady, pulling Molly back to the present. "Let us go to the table," and before he could finish, Charlotte interrupted, gesturing to Emma. "She deserves to understand who we are." And Charlotte. Jack's tone weighed heavy with urgency. "You can't put this on her. We can't discuss everything that has been left over from our past in front of her, not like this. It isn't fair." His protectiveness radiated warmth, and it ignited hope within Molly. Emma tugged on Jack's arm, confused. "Can we just eat ice cream and take more pictures, Daddy? Please." The sweetness in her voice struck a chord. Jack looked down at his daughter, her excitement lighting up the space around them. "Of course, Em," he said softly, kneeling to meet her eye. "We'll take all the photos." Molly felt a rush of affection for both of them. Jack was learning. He was finding a way to embrace his new life without denying the old, even navigating the storm while keeping his daughter safe. Then he turned to Charlotte, lingering uncertainty still flickering like a flame. "After we go through this ice cream, we'll talk. Just us. No noise." Charlotte's walls seemed to shift, just slightly. "Fine. But this can't wait forever, Jack," she replied, clenching her jaw. You won't just walk away without facing it. He took a deep breath, feeling the quiet storm funneling through him. I'll own my choices, I promise. But I have to do it on my own terms. With that declaration, they moved toward the picnic table, and the atmosphere began to change. Molly slid onto one side, watching as Jack helped Emma into her seat with a tenderness that warmed her heart. The little girl beamed, her small ice cream cone in hand, like a trophy of happiness. Okay, let us snap some pictures. Molly offered, hoping to capture the moment in time before the charged conversation would take over. Jack leaned over Emma, their heads close together as they posed. She felt a surge of excitement mix with determination. Every click of her camera was a layer of hope, sealing memories before facing uncertainty. Say ice cream. Molly cheered, and both Emma and Jack erupted into laughter, their smiles pure. Click. Molly felt the world around them fade away, if only for a moment. In that instant, love stitched them together, a defiance against the chaos. But the impending conversation loomed heavy. As they wrapped up the photo session, Jack straightened, glancing over at Charlotte, still standing at the edge, arms crossed like an unwavering sentinel. Just a couple more moments, he said, his voice tender yet steady. When they finished, Jack took a deep breath, the weight of resolve settling in. All right, I'm ready to talk now, he said, a hint of bravery splashing through his tone. Emma looked up at him, her sweet innocence a stark contrast to the impending heaviness. Can I come? Molly knelt next to her, brushing a strand of hair behind Emma's ear. Sweetheart, it's something that grown-ups need to talk about. But I promise you, you will understand when the time is right. Okay, Emma said, pouting adorably but trusting their words. Jack touched her shoulder, soothing any worries. You stay here with Molly, okay? We'll be back soon, I promise. Molly felt a tightening in her chest as Jack and Charlotte moved a few steps away. She wished she could be a fly on the wall, albeit a hopeful one, praying for understanding rather than conflict. The voices rose slightly, but Molly remained focused on Emma, who excitedly devoured her ice cream cone. Look, I got sprinkles. Molly smiled, feeling the warmth of that small moment. Can you believe your dad almost walked away? Emma's eyes sparkled, her innocent spirit causing Molly's heart to flutter. No way. He'd never do that. Just as she finished speaking, the tension between Jack and Charlotte seemed to slice through the air like a knife. Molly stood, scanning their expressions. Jack was calm, but determination glinted in his eyes. Charlotte seemed to be calming down, but there was something that felt unresolved. Molly took a breath, realizing that this moment could redefine everything for them all. Love, she knew, could blossom in the cracks of chaos as long as they allowed it to bloom. Finally, Jack came back, his face set, but hope shimmering under the resolve. He knelt beside Emma, who raised her ice cream cone triumphantly as if to seal their bond in celebration. Jack ruffled her hair, a loving gesture that brought a smile to everyone. Hey kiddo, ready for more photos? Yeah. Emma squealed, thrilled. Their laughter pulled the last remnants of anxiety out of the air, and Molly felt her heart soar. As they snapped silly pictures together, Jack glanced at Molly, and she knew this was just the beginning. They could face the world together and rewrite their stories. A family stitched together with laughter, hope, and love. In that moment, amidst bright colors and innocent joy, she finally felt confident that they could turn past burdens into future blessings. Molly called out, "All right, last one. Everyone say family. Family." Their voices rang together, bright and unified, intertwining their newfound strength. Standing there, watching the love radiate between them, Molly knew, they had crossed the first bridge together, uncertain but strong, and the journey ahead, though daunting, held endless possibilities. Now she felt ready and willing to step forward and embrace whatever came next. And if you're feeling inspired by this beautiful transformation, you need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Did it touch your heart like it did mine? And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support, don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know how important this is.